Hello, hello, hello. I hope you guys all enjoyed your Thanksgiving holidays, Black Friday. See a lot of family, hang out, whatever, good spiel. I definitely got to play a lot of games over the holiday. I've been super busy, haven't been able to play a whole lot, but I finally got to really sit down and I actually put an all-nighter with some of my friends. Yeah. So I'm going to be doing something a little different today. I've been working with my buddy C for a while, trying to get him to understand League a little better. As you all know, he's relatively new. He hasn't even hit level 30 yet. And there are a lot of these new concepts, or advanced concepts, I guess you could say. Concepts that a very casual player who just started wouldn't be aware of, such as Botlane Synergy, different trading stances. I'm not going to go into that type of detail because that's not how I practically apply it. I just see it in terms of two lines, kind of like this, right here. This might have been discussed. Well, this was discussed. I learned this first from a guy named, I believe his name was Phi LOL, very known YouTuber for League of Legends. But anyways, I'm going to break it down, hopefully in a way that C can understand. And hey, maybe some of you guys can draw some benefit from it as well. So I'm going to pull out 3 different clips that I spliced from 3 different games. They were acquired sequentially. And it started off, the first game was very messy. We basically lost lane at level 1 because we weren't, my friend and I who were playing, which is not C, as you can see. Yeah, I know, as you can see, right? Which is not my other buddy. I'm talking about Smoogie, who is playing Orianna support. And we were on the same page at the beginning, and a lot of things just went terribly wrong. I had a different goal in mind, he had a different goal in mind, and it just didn't work. We synchronized that game plan for the second game, and you saw a huge difference. And then a couple games later, the third clip, I want to say it was about maybe 4 or 5 games later, I decided to go with a different ADC, and we took it a step further. We went with a game plan in mind that took into account the character matchup, and we basically destroyed that lane from that point on. So let's go ahead and dive right into them, okay? So I've got the first game we played, no synergy, okay? So that's me right there. I'm Ezreal, the ADC, that's Orianna. You can see that we've got a bit of a line going on, but this is the weird part. Look at here. Soraka walks up and she just does a number on me, and look at Orianna. She's not really doing anything. And here I am being overly aggressive. And so I'm just going to pause it right here. Essentially, at this point, we've lost the lane. Because, well, we just got chunked so hard. And at this level, when you're pushed back that much, a good player, or players who know how to continue to layer on the pressure, will run with this advantage. And if they do it right, you will not be able to get this advantage back unless you have jungle intervention. We can go into that later, but I want you to just kind of look at this from a very practical standpoint and just kind of see the difference in the gameplay. So we'll go over this part once more. And literally, games can be lost. Well, lanes can be lost from something as simple as this. So right here, this is a great thing we got going here, except that we're not really using it, right? Ori's in range. She should be harassing him because he's in range too, right? So hence I'm going in for an attack. Am I? I believe I am. Soraka's all the way over here. She's still within range to retaliate, but we should be jumping on this, right? So I guess I back out and I take some free harass. Soraka goes in. Ori is going way back. She's ready to get out of the fight. But me, I'm like, no. Because I feel like she's overextended. Because look at how far Jin is. So this case scenario, you can point fingers, like if you really have to, you could argue that both people are wrong, right? The support is not really supporting the ADC. They are not having a presence. They're not establishing pressure. They're too far back, so that pressure is not there to relieve pressure from these opponents from their ADC. So that's one thing you could look at or say. The other thing is you could say that the ADC is overly aggressive, and although it may be a good plan, it could also have been a better plan to back off too. Why? Because he knows, if he should have been aware that his support is no longer continuing to fight. They are choosing to back out. Okay? And this, I mean, there's all sorts of reasons for this in terms of vision or intuition, but the big thing is there needs to be this synergy. It could be right, it could be wrong, but both parties need to act together. And because of the inability to act, look at all the free damage Soraka gets on me, the ADC, right? And then Jin walks up, and Orianna is still all the way back here. So I would have said that there's a potential for them to kill us, or at least blow a flash at that point. Okay, so let's jump into the next clip, and this is a little different. This is like an improvement. Usually I would expect this with some of my other friends who aren't as seasoned, I guess you would say. I wouldn't say as Mugi as seasoned, but we are very adaptable gamers. We've known each other from another game, and we've, in our clan or guild, whatever we were in before, we were flexible, very flexible and skilled in playing different classes and roles. And so that's sort of transferred over to here. We have sort of a general knack or sense or understanding of how games kind of proceed after we played it enough. So, second clip. Now, I know this is kind of weird. You see a Thresh, Soraka. What the hell is this bot lane? Don't mind that. I mean, yes, you could really dive into that, but again, this is more about synergy that I'm really tapping into right now. I still believe that you can make these things work so long as you got the right synergy and you got the basics. And synergy is a basic element of the bot lane duel, okay? Ori's a little late to the game, but hey, here she is. And so we're trying to balance the wave, but it's not likely that we're going to be able to. So I'm kind of respecting, I'm kind of a little passive, and also given how the last game sort of went, I know better now than to be super aggressive and right up in their faces. So I'm kind of backing up. And so here's why I really emphasize that line here, because you saw how I was able to harass him, and as he overextends to harass me, he autos me once, but both Ori and I land one auto attack on him. Auto attacks around this level do at least 55 damage. I think around 50 to 55 damage. And each minion does 12 to 25 depending on whether they're melee or ranged. And so not only did he receive that much, the two autos from both of us, but he's also receiving all these little particles that you can see coming from the ranged casters, also from the melee minions, okay? So look at the damage he has sustained just from walking up and slapping me once, and then getting slapped by basically our whole group here, right? Now imagine if Orianna was all the way back here, and he slapped me, and I might have been able to slap him back, hit him with one auto. But chances are, with Ori this far back, I would have been more reluctant, because Soraka could easily walk up and dissuade me from continuing the chase, right? So he could have just gotten a free auto attack on me. Not super free, but he still would have gotten to pressure me and mess with me, right? So that would be unacceptable, in my opinion. And so I keep saying so. But yeah, just like pay attention to how this line is going here. Even though we're both backing up because we don't want to take minion aggro, we're able to punish Thresh for overextending. Anytime he gets a little too close. Same with Soraka. It's basically a dance-off. Look how we move and look how our opponents move. It's a very active lane. It really is. It's a very proactive, active lane. And it's See? And it goes for both players too. Generally, for the ADC, it's a little tougher because they need to micromanage getting farm and trying to be aware of the map. But usually, the support at this level has a little more room to basically do whatever they want or just kind of respond. Basically, they do what they can to disrupt, and so Ori's walking up, preventing Thresh from just having his way with me. Again, very, very active line. Look at, because, and I do get hooked, but look at that. Ori is able to respond and dissuade him. Not only that, but trade back. And I think that trade actually worked out better, just because she's establishing presence by keeping up with me in this parallel lane here, right? Again, totally different story if Ori's all the way back here. As they come up to try to trade back with Orianna, I run up. As they try to trade with me, Ori runs up. Night and day difference. Night and day difference. Right? See, bam, bam. See that trade right there? Let's go back real quick, just to emphasize it. Right? Soraka attacks Orianna. I go and attack Soraka. Nothing goes by for free. Thresh is attacking, and look at Ori's trading back, and because of that bad mistake, Thresh decided to fight in that whole wave of minions. He was punished and he lost a lot more life. Again, imagine if Orianna didn't do anything and I was too busy running back because Orianna wasn't supporting me. Thresh might have gotten away with very little repercussion. So just to quickly recap, the lane is a lot more easier because of the presence established, as well as the synergy in knowing when to attack, when to go in and harass the opponent and back each other up. Alright, and this is where we back. So I'll go ahead and exit out of this clip. Now, the third clip is, I would say we take it to another level. I'm not saying like we're like super pro, but we take it another step further in that we go into the game with a game plan, taking into account the match up. So we actually paid attention to what the enemy team picked, acknowledged their strengths, and recognized their weaknesses. And we started off the game really abusing the enemy team's weaknesses, the enemy laner's weaknesses, as you will see. And so with that synergy, that basic element established, this is how you're able to get ahead, establish dominance when you make your decisions, right? If you don't have the synergy, again, if you don't have that presence or dominance, or presence to establish that dominance or establish your stance, your enemies are just gonna dick you around. With the bot lane duel, you need to have both members, the support and the ADC, on the same page. It can't be with one person up and another person super passive, unless you're playing someone like Soraka or Nami. Those are supports that you may be able to do that with. Even Lulu, because they have spells that allow you to cast from a range and still reach enemies while being in a safe distance. So let's go ahead and roll this clip. So this time I'm actually playing Sivir, and so before the match began, I actually told my buddy here to try to throw a Q through here and hit as many minions as you can, and the idea of that is to shove the wave. I know that Ezreal has issues clearing waves at the very beginning, and if he uses his Q to help him clear waves, it's gonna blow out his mana. And on top of that, if we were able to get here first, clear out this minion wave, we get to do whatever the hell we want to him while he's trying to farm. And not only that, but we have minion aggro advantage on them. So if both of us were pushed up and they decide to contest us, they're going to take a lot of damage. So let's see how this plays out. That's the game plan. I was actually surprised I got all this farm. Generally, I mean, I'm not a good ADC player. I usually main a different role, but wow, in this case, I got it. So look at this. So this is a mistake on our side in that we're split up. Like, look at Ori. She's run back, and so there was a misunderstanding here. I did not communicate this clearly enough. I was only able to communicate getting the minions. But look at, just because of that push, look at what's going on here in this fight. It was just me and these minions against the enemy duel. Look at that. Look at all the damage that they've sustained just from that. I think I only landed 2 auto attacks on Ezreal, and look at the damage he sustained. That's at least a pot right there. I mean, doesn't choose to use it, but and this sets the precedence for the lane. A lot of people don't think about it, but when you clear the lane first, not only is your enemy lane struggling to clear the same amount of minions as you, you're gonna hit level 2 first, meaning you'll have an extra spell to do damage. And with that lead up to at least level 3, even 4 and onward, you have a level advantage, which grants you a damage spell advantage. Think about it another way. If you have 2 team members, both of them level, that's 2 spells that you can add immediately to the rotation if a scrap were to go down. So you're looking for that. You are pushing, you're gaining that dominance. That's where that dominance comes from. And if they don't respect that, as soon as you hit level 2, that's when you go all in. You make them blow a flash, you make them blow a summer, you make them respect you. Even if they survive, they're chunked down to where you can basically really mess with them under their tower, cause them to lose CS, and it's the worst, absolute worst thing you can do, to be low on health, stuck under your tower, and not want to back. Not only will you be losing a lot of farm, but you're also losing experience, because then you get zoned out as your wave bounces back from the minions, or from the tower killing the minions, and your enemies stand right here. So when that's a little bit more advanced, but let's just watch how this lane plays out because of that early push and that synergy we've got. Right, look how we're lined up, and we're just not making life easy for them. Ori should still be a little higher, but I mean, we're kind of catching the drift here, right? I'm a little aggressive here, but I'm kind of cocky, a little cheeky there. So because of this setup, because of this early advantage, we have room to make mistakes. Not going to say that we should, and it doesn't justify it, but we have a lot of room to work with here. Look at them. They're basically half health. And all out scrap, there's no way they can win. There's no way. Look at, unless we take a tower shot. But look at that, right? Just because of that, we're level 2. Like, we're equal by all means, but well, okay, not by all means. We're equal in terms of levels and skill rotations, etc. But because of what we established, the minion population here, we thinned out their wave, we harassed them down, we had room to work with, and that is where you continue to snowball that lead. And then now, to further escalate that, you both back. Why? Because if you both time your backs correctly, by the time you come back, you will, at the very least, you will have an item lead on your enemy, right? But if, say, this Thresh sticks around, or one of them, sometimes Thresh will back by the time Ezreal gets here, then Ezreal is going to be in a real shitstorm, right? Because he's stuck under his tower, he's alone, and if we do our job right, we poke him down to half life, even lower. By the time Thresh gets back, Ezreal has it back. So now there is always only one person in lane as opposed to 2. And if the other person stays, they are always fighting at a disadvantage. That is how you snowball and push your lead. I sure hope that this helps. I think having 3 clips showing 3 different play styles on a certain range, or levels of aggression, or presence establishment, right, or synergy, how all of those kind of affects how the game goes, how the lane goes, and sets the precedent, sets the tone for the rest of the game. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, comment, rate, subscribe, and you guys have a great rest of your holiday weekend, okay? Take care.